podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Manpacks. Manly goods on a schedule. Get started today and have underwear, socks, toiletries, shaving supplies, and more delivered to your door. Visit manpacks.com/twit and get $10 off your first order of $30 or more, or buy a $50 gift card for $40. Hey, welcome to All About Android, episode 97, recorded on Tuesday, February 19th, 2013. We are your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards, and I'm back.
Yay, and I'm Gina Trapani.
Gina Trapani, Ron Richards, the team is here.
All together, yay.
Super stoked. You may notice just right off the top, we have a brand new Android app, Shaping. It's like an 8-bit filter for Gina.
We're going with the retro look. It's the
yes.
8-bit thing. You know, that's the kids love that now, right?
Kind of boxy.
Yeah, actually, I'm happy that we said that because it just improved a little bit, the audio especially. We're working on improving Gina's connection. So hopefully next week, I think we might actually have it figured out. I hope I'm not jinxing it by saying that, but we have some really smart people working on it, including Gina, as well as Russell. You've probably heard us talk about him in the past. They're on the case. So
knock on router.
Yeah, exactly.
Router.
Don't knock on it too hard. It might set things down.
It might pixelate me more.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm super stoked that we're all here today. We've got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. This week, we're going to be talking about the new HTC One. If you haven't heard about that already, you're going to hear a lot about it in this episode. Google stores for shopping. HP's getting into the Android game. Just a lot of cool stuff to talk about. So let's not waste any time. Let's dive into the news. All right, so first up, we might as well talk about Google stores. 9to5 Google says, in quotes, extremely reliable sources, so we'll see how reliable they end up being, are confirming that Google is working on brick and mortar stores, possibly open for business by the end of the year, the end of 2013. The stores would, in this case, be a way for Google to demonstrate things like the Nexus line, Chrome, other upcoming products to consumers, upcoming products, possibly, I don't know, glass.
Well, that's the one thing that makes me question this, because I'm not surprised, because we've seen the success of the Apple Store, and Microsoft has attempted to have a store, and remember the old gateway stores and things like that. So it's not uncommon. But they've got a phone, they got 2 tablets, and Chromebooks, and the Chromebox. Mm-hmm. So they've got 5 products. Mm-hmm. I feel like they need a little more product. I don't know. The retailer in me.
Yeah.
Well, all the accessories and
true.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
accessories. There's the Chrome box. There's, there's just merch. They don't really do merchandise at Apple stores and stuff, but there's just like Google stuff.
But also, if you think about it, how many products does Apple have? A phone, an iPad, a Mac, and a thing.
They've got the iMacs, they've got the Mac Minis, they've got all the different flavors of iPads, and they've I don't know. I could see. You're right. That's a good point. But they have a bit more than Google does.
Yeah. Well, the source says the idea came from the thought that consumers would need to test out things like Google Glass in particular, in order to understand and potentially make a purchase of, however expensive that's going to be, $500. Sure. Google Glass isn't the kind of thing that the average person reads about and goes, oh yeah, I automatically understand why I need to pay $500 for that. It's the kind of thing that hopefully, if it's done right, you put on and you have that kind of experience you get with some Apple products where you use it for the first time. You're like, oh, okay, I get it. I get why I have to spend all this money for this.
That test drive capability, to kind of put it in your hand and feel it and say, okay, wow, this is what this experience is going to be like. I can see that. Don't get me wrong, it'd be neat. I'd love to go to the mall and walk into a Google store. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I would too. I went to the Microsoft store to check out the Kinect, right? Because and they made a big deal about it. They had a Kinect set up, and people were playing. I also went to just look at the Surface and try the keyboard and stuff. Otherwise, I'd never go to the Microsoft store. But it seems like Glass would be a big reason why people would go just to see, right? Because everyone wants to try on a pair of those glasses, and it seems like a retail store would be a great place to do it. Let's just hope that they implement it better than the online retail stores.
Totally,
that's true. Yeah.
Right? I mean,
well,
unfortunately,
Google's online retail has not been the best.
It's interesting to see this kind of rumor come out, and literally a couple hours ago I saw, and this is probably more for This Week in Google, and I'm sure you guys probably talked about it already, but have you seen the trailer for that movie, the Internship?
Yes.
Gina, do you know what this is? You ever see it?
Yeah, I haven't seen the trailer, but a few we covered on the show a few episodes ago. There was, there were like Owen Wilson sightings.
Yeah, there's a whole Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn movie that takes place at Google, like on the Google campus. Like they get internships at Google, and like so it's like you got to wonder if Google's making. Like you don't just get to make this kind of movie without Google being involved.
Oh, absolutely.
And so there's this public persona kind of thing that's happening. It almost, where it's like making Google more of a brand name, more of a common, everyone's going to know it type thing.
Also, I mean, can you imagine being one of the only, cloud apps, cloud services that would have a physical store?
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah.
I mean,
brick and
if you
mortar
have
cloud application, that's
right.
crazy.
Wait a minute, my brain just exploded a little bit.
Right. And so if you want to convert people, they could come in and be like, "Hey, we can set up your Gmail account,"
Yeah.
Have a seat in the cloud.
Right.
That's really interesting. I mean, because when you walk into an Apple store, what is the percentage of people checking their email on those machines?
Yeah.
Like I went to go buy a Mac Mini the other day, and the guy wouldn't get off. I wanted to check the back of it, and the guy's like, "I'm checking my email." I'm like, "All right, sorry." But imagine if the Google store like welcomes you and lets you go, check your email from here, check your Gmail from here. Like it can become a great, and throw in a coffee bar, and then people are hanging out there, and you got a good product. So
But
also,
will they have a Google bar though? Like, will they have a tech support bar? Can you imagine the line of people like, "You people shut down my AdSense account for no good reason. Like, why is my website not ranked high anymore?"
All of the void of questions that we can never get answered by those bizarre Google groups and things like that. Now you'll have a face.
Now you'll have a face. You'll have someone to be able to walk up with your obscure phone and go, "Hey, so I can't get this to do this thing. Do you know?" And that person, potentially would have to know. At least enough with every single little device to be able to field those wide-ranging questions. That's actually scary right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want that job. Anyways, I don't think it's a bad idea. I just hope that Google, like you said, Gina, I hope they do a little bit better with customer service in person than they seem to do online.
Well, the first thing they should do is they should take those cafeterias and replicate that experience.
Sure.
Because between the pick and mix with the candy and the drink selection and the food and stuff like that, that is
free lunch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
well, they already have history of doing stores with the Google Experience stuff with fiber. So I haven't been in one of those stores, but I assume that it's a pretty good experience. I haven't heard any complaints yet. So that makes me happy.
And they've done little test things in like the SFO airport. They had like a
I remember
Chrome
that.
store.
Yep.
Chrome area, yeah.
Little bits here and there. So I suppose we shall see. The end of the year will come faster than we know.
I miss the Chrome people at SFO. It was always because I'd get to SFO early and I would get dinner because the terminal at SFO is so great. So I'd get dinner in there and then I'd be sitting at the gate for like an hour for the red eye, and they'd be sitting there in their jackets, their Chrome jackets with the Chromebooks, trying to get people to try it. Nobody wanted to talk to them.
No one was doing it?
Yeah. That said, though, in my new setup at home, I have dual monitors and I put a switch and I've got that Chrome box we got at I.O. and I'm using that. So there you go. In my attempt to get closer to being completely cloud.
Right.
I'm closer. I'm this close. So close. So close. Anyway.
Awesome. Well, Gina, does Ubuntu on Android excite you at all?
It kind of does. I kind of like the idea of there being another open source mobile operating system. So this is what's happening. If you ever wanted to run Ubuntu on your smartphone, this is your week. February 21st, Canonical, Mark Shuttleworth's company that does Ubuntu, is dropping the developer preview. It's going to run on the Nexus line, the Galaxy Nexus and the Nexus 4. And this is developer preview. So this is test code, and you can actually bring it to Mobile World Congress. They're going to have a table set up where they'll actually root your phone and let you dual boot either Android or Ubuntu. Again, this is developer preview for testing only. But my feeling about this is like really interesting, but it just feels like so late in the game. I would have liked to have seen this news a couple of years ago. But this is the same code, and this code is all open source, and it's going to drop the same code that runs on desktops as well. So pretty cool. I mean, I love the open sourciness of Android, and Ubuntu, has a long history. I hope it's a good experience, and I wonder, if people are really if it's really gonna kind of get an uptick of users.
I want dual boot capability.
Yeah,
boot into Android, boot into Linux, make my choice and add boot up. But who knows? I mean,
the thing is, does it go beyond the neat factor? Right. Like, it's neat. That's the question. Okay, is there, and I've played with Ubuntu. I'm not by any means a Linux power user or anything like that, but is there a legion of people who want a Ubuntu driven phone, beyond just the novelty of it? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, I think you're going to have a lot of developers who feel very strongly about open source, who are really going to be into this. I mean, I think there are a lot of people who love Ubuntu. And when I say a lot of people, I mean a lot of people sort of within the sort of narrow scope of the geek community. Again, it just feels like Android's open source and has been out for a long time and has this huge running start. It just feels like maybe a little too late, but I don't want to judge. I mean, I would like to see it in action. It's going to rely on HTML5 apps and also native apps. And you can see in the video we're playing here, I mean, the touch interface looks kind of fun, looks kind of neat. Yeah, I like the look of the UI, totally. I was checking out their design guidelines, and they look kind of interesting. I don't know that I'm going to be developing for this right away, but I'd be interested to try it out. So this is going to drop on the 21st, and again, this is developer test code. They're recommending that you install it on a spare test device, not your sort of production phone. Just put that out there.
In other words, not your daily driver.
Not your daily driver. Exactly.
Unless you like living on the edge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the code, I believe, drops as well. The code will get published that night too.
Cool. That's pretty neat. So, but for those of us who are sticking to Android on our phones, one of the big criticisms that a lot of the Android phones and Nexus phones have gotten around the camera, a lot of comparisons to the iPhone and the great photos that come out of that. And Vic Gundotra of the Senior VP of Engineering at Google popped up on a Google Plus conversation that was photography themed, where some people were commenting about the quality of cameras on the Nexus line, and Vic dropped a little knowledge on the group and responded and said, "We are committed to making Nexus phones insanely great cameras. Just you wait and see." So I know a lot of folks have said the Nexus 4 has shown a pretty decent improvement on the camera side of things. If that's the first step in this product strategy of insanely great cameras, then it might be a step in the right direction, but we'll see. So photography nerds out there who have been a little critical of the Nexus, good times might be coming. Just you wait and see.
Insanely great was an interesting choice of words. That's that's an Apple phrase. And actually, this was a comment that Vic left on a post that he had done about how he was going away on vacation up in the mountains to Lake Tahoe or something, and how he had his Android device and his Google glasses, but that he couldn't decide, should he take his DSLR or not. And he decided to take it and to take up lens because he said, I didn't want to pack this heavy thing, but I'm going to do it. I didn't realize that Vic actually was a photography buff, as much of a photography buff as he is. So he basically said that he took his DSLR, which to me felt like an admission of the Nexus cameras they're not good enough.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which is great. So I'm happy to know that he cares, because I think I've complained on every single episode I've been on this show about the camera, but saying the iPhone camera has been better. That the camera is the only thing I think feels is lacking. So I'm happy to see that Vic is committed to that.
I'm by no means a photography nerd at all. Like, I don't even own an SLR and all that stuff, and I've always been like, my camera phone is fine. But honestly, recently, as we've seen this explosion of photography through the likes of Instagram and other photo sharing apps and things like that, I'm watching my friends take great photos, and I've started to feel a little bit of the, what is it? I've had the Galaxy Nexus for a while. Is the camera really that bad? It's supposed to be pretty decent, but is it just my skills? That sort of thing. But yeah, so I would love to be able to compete on that level and actually make some photos that I could be proud of, and get some of my friends going, I'm jealous.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Isn't that what it's all about? We just want to make our friends jealous, right?
Yeah, that's exactly why we're all on Android, because we just want to make the rest of the world jealous. It's just the truth. kind of joking. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Camera to me is very important, continues to be very important to me, and I have yet to be very impressed with any camera I've owned that's part of a phone that I've owned anyways. Right. I really want that to be the reality, and I think that's kind of what excited me about this. It's Vic Indotra. He's the Senior VP of Engineering at Google. If he's saying that they're not good enough and that they're working on it actively, I guess that could be kind of spin, but I'm happy to know that at least they're confirming how I feel, and I think that they could be better. And just a little tease for a little bit later, there may be a phone that was, announced this morning that might be just, that kind of device.
Look at you with the segue teaser. That was pretty good. Yeah, no, wow. Looking forward to that.
I don't know what to say, but there you go. Let's take an email real quick here. Greg and the rest of the world emailed us to correct us on last week's discussion about the Ouya console and backwards compatibility. Greg says, you were saying how unreasonable it is for them to expect the console to be able to play future games. I think you guys were misunderstanding backwards compatible. When the Xbox 720 says it's backwards compatible, it means it'll play Xbox 360 games, not that it'll play whatever's coming out next. That's completely true. I think we completely got spun down that direction and kind of got the terms backwards a little bit. I blame myself for that.
I'll take the hit for that. I think I had a total brain fart and conflated future compatibility with backwards compatibility. And when I saw this email, I was like, oh, of course. Like, I think we just sort of went down the wrong rabbit hole. So apologies about that.
I will be honest. I yelled at my at my device as I was watching the show. And I go, nah, this is why I need to be here.
Yes. Keep us honest. Bring some reality to us when we're talking about video game systems, which obviously I don't live my life in video game systems much these days.
Am I the only one who does that? Like when you're not on the show and you listen, or not on a show that you do you talk back to it? Like I know a lot of listeners do it. Now that I quit the iFanboy podcast, I listen to it as a listener and I'm going, no guys, and like I did the same thing with this too.
I don't know if I talk out loud, but I certainly have I certainly think about the things that I would say right there for sure.
I have exclaimed
it's hard not
out
to.
loud.
Yeah, totally.
I've yelled at my car at this episode of Twig, so I'm right there with you.
See, right? Exactly. I'm not crazy.
No. Backwards compatible.
You know that.
Not forwards. Jeez. Well, let's take a quick break and thank our sponsor, a new sponsor for All About Android, and I'm pretty stoked about this. Manpacks.com/twit. Now,
I just like that Manpacks.com. That's a great domain. Good job.
It really is. It packs a punch. Now, there's basic stuff. If you're a guy, you're probably a little on the lazy side. I would imagine. Not all guys are, but I admit it. I'm a little lazy myself, and I forget to buy things until it's a little too late. And things that you just kind of don't think about all the time, but that are actually pretty important. Underwear, socks, those things that you just don't kind of want to spend your time or your money on buying. That's kind of what Manpacks is all about. Basically, guys don't ever have to shop for these manly basics again with Manpacks. You join thousands of men that have signed up, and basically what it is it's a start it, stop it, change it anytime subscription service. They kind of liken it to Netflix for these kinds of goods. You sign up, you update your pack, the pack that you're going to be delivered. So when you sign up, you actually pick a few items and you say, all right, this is shipping to me right now. And then in 3 months, they notify you about what your next pack is going to be. And you can put in your preferences, change it up. Every product is tried and guy approved by Manpacks. No duds. No junk, they say, just pure win. It has free shipping, free returns. Their customer support is excellent. There's no crazy return policy. Basically, they say they put the customer first. Customer's always right because they want the customers for life. So it sounds actually very cool. I want to sign up for it myself because I am totally, I think, the target audience for this service. I do not think about buying these things on my own. And, why not sign up for a service that actually does that for you? So here's what they are offering. There are 2 exclusive offers for Twit listeners. You can visit manpacks.com/twit, and you can get a $10 off for your first order of $30 or more, or you could buy a $50 gift card for $40. So either way, you're getting $10 off. So it's $10 off your first order of $30 or more, or buy a $50 gift card and you actually pay $40 for it. So go to manpacks.com/twit and you can get started today. You just sign in there, take a look at all the stuff. They have tons of stuff to pick from. You pick your first pack, and then 3 months later, it's like getting a gift in the mail. It's like a gift that you bought for yourself, or I don't know, if you want to buy your man a gift and you don't know what to get him, this is probably a pretty good gift to give him. So thank you, Manpacks, for supporting All About Android and the Twit Network. It's manpacks.com/twit, and we really appreciate it. And I hope you'll check it out because it sounds very cool. All right? Do it. All right, let's get into hardware.
So, I skipped the show for 2 weeks, and I come back, and I get to talk all about the big news in hardware. So thank you, Jason. The big event that happened, so on the eve, is it safe to say the eve of Mobile World Congress in Barcelona?
That's eve enough.
Eve, HTC decided to get ahead of the curve and kind of get ahead of all the announcements that have come out of Mobile World Congress and roll out their 2013 initiative, their kind of what's being called now the kind of HTC reboot. After it's safe to say they had a rough year in 2012. They were a little all over the place. We were loving HTC about a year ago.
They had a rough year, but they had great hardware. It's just kind of hard to see.
You see, and that's the thing is that's the problem with HTC in my mind is that HTC has always got this hardware that I really really like, but I'm not a big fan of Sense. And honestly, in the past year, we saw dilution of their brand through so many different flavors of their phones. They had so many different models coming out, variations, which one does what, how does this work, the kickstands, and all that sort of things. So what they did with this announcement was they basically announced their initiative around the HTC One, which is one phone, one hardware design, one bevel, it's all just kind of a unified theory of phone. And it's pretty impressive some of the choices they made. So the new HTC One's got a 1.7 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon processor. It's got a 4.7-inch screen at 1920 by 1080 with a 468 PPI versus the 440 PPI of the Droid DNA, which Jason you love, which is amazing. So you've got a crisp screen. Got 2 gig of RAM on there. It's got 32 or 64 gig internal storage, and again, no SD slot. So
3264, that's a lot. Pretty good. Although some people just like the removable part of the SD slot.
They able to upgrade or pull out a card and put in a new one, that sort of thing. But when I had removable media, I never used it. So
I never used it that way.
But nonetheless, some people want it. So the new HTC One is going to be available on AT&T, T-Mobile, and Sprint. It is not going to be available on Verizon. We'll get to that in a moment. Big thing, we're talking about the camera, that we teased the camera with Vic saying insanely great things. Well, HTC is taking a step forward in insanely great, and they've introduced the Ultra Pixel. For years, we've been grading our cameras by megapixels, and HTC's come up with a new take on the technology. The Ultra Pixel basically is a larger sensor than normal, allowing for more light. So while the resulting image is 4 megapixels, that's more than you need if you're capturing more light to get the image and the image looks crisper, the image looks better. Mm-hmm. So this might seem on the offset, it's going to be like, what? It's just a 4 megapixel camera, but by the sensor being bigger, you're getting crisper photos that take in light better and potentially a better kind of pixel depth. So that's a kind of a big step forward in the camera that's going to confuse a lot of people. They've also got Image Chip 2, which, as I scrolled away, enables continuous autofocus in less than 200 milliseconds and 1080p HDR video recording in near 30 frames per second. So it's a pretty decent phone. It's a single-body aluminum case, so it's similar to the MacBook Pro from Apple in that it's using that kind of technology. So that's it on the hardware. Then they also announced the new version of HTC Sense, which is their kind of touchscreen UI interface, their flavor over Android. Completely overhauled the look of it. They've redesigned the app drawer. They've redesigned other aspects of it, and they've introduced a new feature called Blink Feed, which is a full screen feed of all your social and news sources. That's kind of similar to Flipboard and Flipboard's tiles. So embracing the social, continuing similar to kind of what Microsoft's doing with the little squares, borrowing a little from Flipboard, merging it all in. It's got Facebook and Twitter. Ironically, no Google Plus support yet. So if you're a Google Plus a loyalist, you're going to miss out on Blink Feed. They've got the gallery is now animated with motion video instead of single buttons for videos. And Zoe is a camera feature that records short 3-second videos for quick sharing. very similar to Vine and the other Tout and the other kind of video products that we've seen in terms of the short video.
Yeah, so like every time you start a video, I think it said it takes, I guess it's continually buffering images so that, by the time you put your finger on the screen to start the video, it takes like 3 or 4 shots prior to when you touched the button, and then it takes a few after you let go, so it kind of has this rounded. I don't quite understand. I want to see it in use to really understand.
A lot of these things that they're announcing are like that kind of thing, or like especially like with the Ultra Pixel, where it's like, right, well, it seems like this, but once you see it, and so like it's gonna be the kind of thing where we need to get our hands on it, need to check it out. They've also got on the HTC One, I forgot to mention, they've had, HTC's had that bizarre partnership with Beats Audio. Well, that continues. And the HTC One is going to have dual front speakers. So that's that's really nice. They say it's extremely loud and clear. And then the Beats Audio remains on board, and they've renamed it Boom Sound. So you've got your Boom Sound with your Ultra Pixel in your Blink feed. So a lot of buzzwords with the HTC One there.
What? They're not going to have a hard time marketing this? This is totally obvious.
It's all about it's terms, it's catchphrases. We can make T-shirts. It'll say Blink feed, Boom Sound. It'll be awesome. But so what's interesting is that HTC, similar to some of the kind of retail incentives that we've seen with new phones, HTC is going to be offering $100 trade-in on trade-in value on previous HTC phones, depending on which the value is being greater of the phone you're trading in or not. There's some restrictions that apply, but they are incentivizing people to trade in their HTC One, trade in their HTC phones to get the HTC One. Saying HTC One a lot is hard for me. But that said, so what do we think of this new approach from HTC? Do we have any examples of the photos? What do they look like? Do they actually look ultra pixely?
We do have some, the guy from Trinidad in the chat room right before the show started sent me a link, and I put it in the doc. So we have some photos.
And these aren't press photos. These are actual, like, from the event.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't know.
This is a video from the camera. Sorry, from the camera of the HTC One.
Is that in HD mode on YouTube?
Yeah, so this is 1080. Okay. Let me triple check that it's.
Yeah, and obviously it's in like a club-like.
But still, that looks pretty good from a phone.
Lighting.
Yeah,
for a phone in a weird lighting situation, this is actually like a pretty good video. That was someone from the press took it with one of the presser.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Okay.
Right. So they had set up a little area to take photos or to test.
Look at that. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. They also have some comparison photos to the Nexus 4 that are similar, similar shots to kind of compare it against. And it's hard when you don't have them side by side to really kind of get the differences. But you can kind of see it. The Nexus 4 kind of, the whites are just a little bit more smeared here than I remember them on the other one.
Do we want to show the photos that they provided as examples?
Yeah. So
let's take a look. I mean, admittedly, these are HTC sanctioned photos, but it gives an idea of what the potential should be.
I don't know if those are in there anymore.
Or do we take it out?
Yeah. No, I don't have those, but I have press photos of the device.
Yeah.
I unfortunately took that out. I didn't mean to do that. I think if the photos are spectacular, we saw a few. It's hard to say from a couple, taken in a dim light environment. I want to see what it looks like in a bright environment. I want to see what it looks like in my living room at 9:00 at night when I decide to take a picture of my kid, or things like that.
For me at clubs, when I go see bands and stuff like that, that's my biggest thing. It's like the dealing. Hopefully, that's what I find myself when I take a picture of my Galaxy Nexus is that I turn on the camera and then immediately I've got to increase the exposure. I've got a whatever that, the +1, +2, +3, and so if I don't have to do that anymore, I can take photos straight away with that. That's.
But even when you do that, you're creating, grain and noise
so much
to the
grain,
image.
so much noise,
it's like that's not really the best solution necessarily. I do it if I have to, but I don't like the picture still at the end of the day. I don't know. Does this phone are you very interested in this phone, Gina?
I really like the way it looks. I really like the front and back. I just like the design of it. I'm kind of a snob about the pre-install. I'm a snob about Sense, and I'm a snob about pre-installed widgets like that Blink feed widget. And I read one of the articles we had in the rundown, and I can't find it now, it might have been the one that got taken out, they were saying that you actually can't remove blink feed from the home screen. Like, you can put it onto another home screen, but you can't remove it. And that kind of thing, and I realize that this is me being like a 1% like jerky nerd, like that annoys me. Like, I'm like, why are you forcing me to look at your thing? But letting go of that, like, yeah, this looks like a really nice phone. And I'm just looking at the front face and the bezel and just the design of it. I like that there's no bump for the battery. Like, it's just a nice looking device. Like, I wanna try it.
Yeah, no, I think the
look of it.
I think the design of it is real. I've always loved HTC's design.
Me too.
I think it's I think it's worth looking at it. But for me, the HTC Sense has always been the deal breaker for it. You know, like, I love the Nexus One, which was an HTC design device because it was stock Android. And like, to your point, like, I don't want the blink feed. Like, I think that's great. And for people who are plugged into Facebook all the time and all that sort of thing, it might be cool. But for me, yeah, exactly. It's not me at all. Yeah. So, hey, Chad, we put in the chat room the images so you can see the
that HTC provided.
Yeah.
And they're pretty darn sharp looking.
Right? Yeah. That's why I think they're
Of
worth looking
course.
at. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
they're not going to put anything, out officially that's like walking a line of like, oh yeah, I guess that looks pretty good. Like, it's going to look spectacular.
Right.
if they're
Yeah,
gonna
of
put it
course.
out,
But they're showing that this is the potential of what the photos look like. Then that could be, interesting. It's that sense stuff that just gets me. I just don't, like it's I just don't. I mean, I understand they want to differentiate in the marketplace, but if you ask me, that's too much differentiation.
Well, and talk about differentiation. Another thing that a lot of people are talking about is that they are not doing the 3-button approach. They're doing a 2-button approach of a back and a home button. And then your home button does different things. If you double tap it, you get your multitasking. If you hold it, can't remember what you get there. But that's the problem, right?
You get the
it's like
search.
the 3-button approach, you know what you get at this point. And that's kind of the standard that Google has set out. Having said that, if you owned this phone, I'm sure after a day you would understand those buttons and it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. It's just, they do it for the sake of differentiating their devices for good or bad.
Right. True. And so like I mentioned, Verizon won't be carrying it. So if you're looking for a really high quality, really beautiful screen, the Droid DNA is going to have to be your option if you're a Verizon customer. So
right, which is not a bad phone, but it's also not the One, which is kind of their unified 2013 device strategy. At this point.
We'll see how it goes for them. I mean, it's interesting, and the chat room is blowing up talking about there's an IR blaster integrated.
That's right.
Yeah, which is again a unique kind of thing that you're not seeing any other manufacturers do. So see what kind of applications they can do with that, but that is pretty neat. So
really like the design though.
Love it. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I want
Nicely
to
designed.
Yeah, I want to see HTC succeed and be a viable, powerful competitor to Samsung. I've just always liked their design more than I like the Samsung kind of plasticky approach.
Yep.
You side on one side or another. People like the plasticky phones because they have a little bit of give. If they hit the ground eventually, they're not as likely to destroy, and the HTC phones might. I don't know. I don't know. I really hope that they're able to pull through. The problem is the marketing challenge that they have right now. Their mind share is nowhere near where it used to be. And they have an uphill battle to climb against Samsung in particular. I don't know if this is enough to do
Samsung
it.
has done so well recently.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is that Samsung has that brand name, and they've put millions into that advertising campaign, and they've really taken on Apple head first, and they're not really worrying about being defined as an Android device. They're being defined as a Samsung device, and you just don't see HTC falling off, rolling off people's lips as like, oh, did you get that HTC phone?
Right.
So I mean, it is an uphill battle for them.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I mean, I have a friend of mine who has a love-hate relationship with he's had the Evo and then the one, I think he has the One X or something like that, and has gone from loving it to having problems to and so if they can consolidate, and if this one design works and they could take the Apple approach and not, because we always talk about the market fragmentation, that's the biggest thing against Android, is that having multiple devices, you don't know which one to go with. If they're just going with one device, then maybe we'll see how it goes, but they're not going to be on Verizon, so that cuts them off.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Samsung, Gina, what do we know?
before you line up for the HTC One, it turns out that the supposedly Galaxy S4 will be announced on March 14th. This is according to The Verge, who said sources say from inside that they're at an event in New York on March 14th. The Galaxy S4 will be announced. That the design has been a tightly guarded secret. That the leaks have been wrong about what the design is going to be, and that HTC is going to miss out on One sales because of this new Samsung device. It sounds like that the new design is going to be more like the Galaxy Note 8. This is what The Verge is saying. So this will be interesting to see if Samsung can can squash HTC sales the way they did. Now this is actually a tweet from a writer at Mobile Review who said HTC will miss HTC One sales again like it was in 2012. And that was before my time on All About Android. So what is he referring to there? Is he referring to...
Well, I mean, pretty much the same thing. Yep. Basically, he's saying that history would repeat itself from 2012, right, where HTC had their One launch, and I would say it was a pretty successful kind of marketing blitz. It had a lot of people talking, but the S3 came along, the announcement came along so soon afterwards, and really just kind of took their breath, stole their thunder completely. And then at the end of the year, you've seen how many of the S3s have sold, and HTC's hurting and in trouble. It's just kind of is this history, going to repeat itself in this case? Yeah. And it kind of seems like maybe it will, because guaranteed the S4 is going to get a lot of press and publicity. They already have, Samsung already has that mind share. And it's hard to overcome.
And it's tough because if you're at HTC, I mean, if you're working in public relations for HTC, you know that Samsung's going to have an announcement. You know that Mobile World Congress is coming out. So is it best to just put it out there and put out the best show you can and get ahead of it, or wait and try to react and then be compared to, right. It's really a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
So I think HTC is doing the right thing by just putting it out there and just seeing, and getting the most amount of press they can before Samsung does it. Whether it steals away from the sales, I don't know if it'll be as dramatic as last year. But I mean, Samsung's got a lot of momentum. I'm seeing more and more friends of mine, iOS user friends of mine, who are calling me going, "Hey, what's with this Note?" Like my buddy was using it, and can you show that to me? And people thinking about jumping because of a friend of mine has been on the iPhone since day one was like, you can do anything with that thing. It's like one guy has Sketchbook Pro on here, and he was drawing, and it was great, and it's enough to make them consider. Which I had no idea the Note would have that much of a resonance with.
Isn't that crazy? Because when the Note was kind of coming out, I think even we were saying on the show, niche products. Yep. Who knows? I mean, yes, there are going to be ardent fans, but that's not going to be the every person, and that's kind of.
How often did we do the mocking? Like, let me hold it to my head and pretend I'm on the phone with
Meanwhile,
the Note.
The possible Note 8 might have phone, capability in it, so we're going to be right there. And
I still want the pen phone, the pen mic. I still use the S Pen, put a microphone in it. It's a great idea. Sell a little earpiece.
Oh, hilarious!
Yeah. Anyway,
a couple of screenshots of leaks. Speaking of the S4. A smartwatch companion. A couple of screenshots have leaked online that indicate that maybe Samsung is working on a smartwatch to go along with the handset. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I think that would be kind of a fun bit of the announcement if they announce it.
That would be crazy if they did that.
Yeah, like the Samsung smartwatch that could come along with the handset. The screenshots are pretty simple looking, just kind of black and white. Black and white LCD display, 500 by 500 resolution. Very, very, very simple. But this is kind of cool. I would love to see Samsung.
Well, now let's not forget. And now, Gina, before you joined the show, back when was that? It had to have been almost a year ago when there was the Sony watch.
Oh yeah,
that was a companion to one of the Sony phones, and we tore it apart because it was useless.
Useless in and of itself.
Useless in and of itself, right? And that was one of the more hysterical moments where we just made fun of it a lot because you couldn't do much with it.
Things?
We'll see.
Because it seems like now this year we're talking a lot more about wearable technology. We have yet to really see the wearable technology thing mature. Yep. We're expecting something from the Apple side.
Yep.
So it really does seem like 2013 is might potentially be the year where it's taken a lot more seriously than it has before.
I mean the tough thing on this, what it sounds like, is that if the watch display is a conduit to the phone in your pocket, how does that work and how does that interplay work, or does the watch work independently of itself? That's the question. Mm-hmm. But that's I mean, I think the watch idea is a sound one, and someone's going to figure it out, and it's going to be really cool at some point.
Yeah.
And I think Samsung might be in a position to do it, though, right?
Yeah.
So they got a really strong handset that people are really excited about. They've got the mind share. If they have the experience in developing hardware that's Android-based, they really could. They could get it right. I think that's why I'm excited about it.
If I had a watch with a watch size display that was paired with my phone, it was almost like a second display, and my phone was in my pocket, and the watch had a little vibrate thing. I could see that. I can see a text message, or I can see when an appointment is, or see an email, or see the latest tweets or something like that, and just use swiping. I would totally wear that.
Google Now integration.
What?
Ooh,
Google Now integration.
Yeah.
Oh, now there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Again, we're just giving this away, you know. Yeah. And I know it's very
You're
similar.
welcome.
And I know it's very similar to
Samsung.
the Pebble. I mean, it's what Pebble is chasing, but put the market force of Samsung behind it, whereas Pebble is kind of upstarty, and so there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, right? The experience. Yep. Tied to the launch of the new handset. I'd like to see it.
Very interesting.
And I might go back to wearing a watch as well. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We're all kind of out of the habit, or at least I can speak for myself, and I'm pretty much think a lot of people are kind of there too. We're out of the habit of needing or feeling like we need to have a watch on our wrist. We use our phones for.
I used to wear a watch. I used to be a loyal watch wearer, and then the last watch I owned, the band broke, and I just never replaced it, and so I just moved to the phone, and you don't need it. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I got one of these bands for the iPod Mini, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I just got tired of like my phone going to sleep and having to charge it and stuff. You know, like I was like, I don't have time to charge my watch.
Well,
so they really have to get that down.
That's the other side of this too. Is it is yet another thing to have to charge, and plug in at the end of every night, and I don't know. Does that become cumbersome?
Good thing you didn't live in the 1900s when you had to wind your watch, or you would never know what's. Oh God, I gotta wind that thing again.
Never know what time it was.
I had to walk uphill with a wind-up watch. All right, and finally, I almost forgot about this because it was very soon after the end of last week's show. Google possibly claims another ally in the Android game with HP, said to be close to announcing rather its entrance into the platform. Sources close to the matter say that HP is prepping a high-end tablet powered by NVIDIA's Tegra 4 processor, possibly to be the first tablet running that processor, pegging a release somewhere Q2, Q3 of 2013, with an announcement likely coming after the end of Mobile World Congress next week.
They gonna call it touchpad too?
That's a really good question. HP has kind of like played around a little bit. They've had a little bit of history, I think, a few years ago with like showing off a laptop or a tablet of some sort that was running on Android like 2 point something or 1 point something. I can't remember. I vaguely remember them doing it. So, but they haven't, I don't think, made the official push. That's kind of a big get for Google, for Android to have HP and their kind of their name behind it. It also might be a good kind of entrance for Android in a PC form factor, right?
Possibly. I mean, one could counterpoint saying that HP isn't nearly the brand that it used to be.
That is true.
Yeah, so whether or not it works out for them, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't really know how I feel about HP on Android other than that. Like, I mean, it's another
Android on HP.
Right. That yeah. I guess we'll just have to see. And again, this is kind of rumory at this point, but there we go.
All right, cool. We need like a rumor indicator, like some sort of, like rumor level 3 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
The lower third on our show should turn red or something.
We should have a whole just rumor section where we just make stuff up.
Believe me, there are plenty of Android rumors to arm a rumor section every week.
Anyway, so we love to hear from you all in the community and the All About Android community. And we got a voicemail from Anonymous who is talking about the Amazon Appstore being family friendly. Let's roll that audio, Chad.
Hey guys, love the show. Just a quick comment about, you mentioned last week about all the things that Amazon is doing for the family, their coins and whatnot. I've been a little disappointed, honestly. I really thought that Amazon would stay completely family friendly, keep out all the adult apps, and I guess they're kind of going the same way as the Google Play Store now, which doesn't disappoint me because it is, for regular adults. That they're letting in so many apps that are just very adult. You wouldn't even want your screenshots being seen too for kids. So I'm honestly disappointed because I recommended the Kindle Fire to a lot of families due to its simplicity, and now I guess I'm a little disappointed that I pushed them in that direction. Just kind of get your thoughts on whether you think that's a good direction for Amazon to go. Anyway, thanks. Love the show.
I'm so out of touch with the Amazon App Store. I was like, what are you talking about? Really?
Two thoughts here. Two thoughts.
Yeah. One.
I have not seen these apps, and I would like to know more. So I'm going to be. This is news to me, sir. So thank you for updating me on this. And
Amazon,
now I know what I'm doing tonight. So awesome. No. Anyway, but in reality, I mean, the thing is, that's the reality of the marketplace, and those apps are going to exist, and people are going to want that. But we're talking about the Amazon Kindle Fire being family friendly, and we talked about this around the holidays, and I'm a big fan of it. You need to install that app, whatever it's called, the Playtime app or whatever. I can come up with the name. What is that? The Amazon Kids subscription model. It completely, Jason's going to find it for me. It completely locks down the Kindle Fire and limits what the kids can access to just kid-approved content that is unlimited. They don't need to pay for it, so they're not spending your
free time.
Free time. It's free time for Kindle Free Time Unlimited. That's exactly what it's called. And what it allows you to do is allows you to subscribe for a low, like it's like $2.99 a month or something like that, and the kids can explore books, videos, games, apps that have all been kid approved. Mm-hmm. But then there's an also neat thing, which is if there's a app or a game that's not included in Kindle Free Time, you can back out of the Kindle Free Time as an adult and as a user, download it from the App Store, and then assign it to the free time to give your kids access to play it. So you're not just limited to what's subscribed there. That's how you make the Kindle Fire so family friendly. You keep the kids out of the App Store because honestly, kids shouldn't be in the App Store, even like across all, whether it's Google or Apple or all that stuff. It's like letting them out into the into the wilds of any store. They can walk into the wrong store and buy the wrong thing. This Kindle Free Time app really lets you control that, and it's awesome. So Kindle Fire still is my #1 pick for tablets that are family friendly because of this application. And you have the option to do it. I suppose the difference now is you have that option of it being family friendly for a fee. Yeah, well, true.
Yeah.
Well, what's $2.99? What's $3 a month? I mean, and you're
$2.99 if you have Prime already.
Yeah, if you have Prime already, right? But who doesn't have Prime? No, I know not a lot of people don't have Prime. I take it for granted. I know, but the thing is, you also get a lot of value because you're getting a ton of media that's just that is unlimited. So I don't know. I think it's a great deal. So if I was a parent, I would be doing it.
I just wanted to weigh in quickly because I sell my app in the Amazon App Store, and to me, I think that it's fine for Amazon to have adult apps and adult content, but the filtering sort of should happen on the client side. Basically, what Ron is recommending. So, like when I upload my app to the store, there's a whole content rating section where I have to answer questions about the kind of content that it contains. So, like everything from alcohol, tobacco, or drug use references, cultural or religious intolerance, nudity, profanity, or crude humor. So you say, yeah, there's none, there's light to moderate, or they're strong. And the app review process in Amazon is actually kind of long. I mean, it could take a week. They approve. So unlike the Play Store where you can just upload anything, Amazon does have to approve your apps in the App Store, and they do. So to me, it's just as long as the apps identify themselves for what they are as adult apps, and then that filtering happens on the client side, where parents can say to their kids, put on this sort of parental controls. I feel like that's the best way to go. That makes the most sense for them.
Yeah, and just do a quick search.
Well, hello.
It's pretty bad.
All about Android after dark.
I pre-vetted. There's nothing too bad.
Like I said, I've apparently
Chad,
been out of the Amazon App Store game.
Can you
for a
send
long
me that
time.
URL?
It's very easy to do that. That was not difficult to come up with that list.
I am so happy I'm an adult now and I'm not growing up right now, because if I was a teenager right now, I don't know what would happen. It was bad enough in the early 90s with BBSs.
You would leave your room, basically.
And also, I'm never having children for this reason alone.
Now, how do I delete that from my Amazon history? 1 second here.
He's clearing his Amazon.
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and say I'm scared right now.
You should be.
Because I do have children.
That's weird. It says items you might want to consider: batteries. That's a weird recommendation. Batteries and exercise equipment down here.
All right.
Anyway,
let's move on to apps.
Whoa.
I missed all about Android After Dark. It's been a while since we've done that, since we've gone blue. All right.
Last week, we talked about how a help page for a Google Now widget had leaked onto the Google site. A couple of Android blogs have spotted it, and then it got promptly pulled down. Well, the Google Now widget is now available. It comes with the Google Search for Android app, which is available in the Play Store. That update went out this week, and the Google Now widget is exactly kind of what you would think that it would be. It'll put Google Now cards on your home screen and your lock screen. And yeah, I was trying it out today. I love it. I love Google Now. It's nice because it kind of gives you the information without requiring you to actually launch Google Now. So by default, it shows you the weather, where you're currently located, and traffic to when you go home. Looks great. So and this is the thing that I was not clear on. Google Now is in the Play Store. This widget actually comes with the Google Search app, which is in the Play Store. And Google Now got a couple of updates. It's now got Fandango movie passes. So if you buy movie tickets through Fandango, you'll be reminded when to leave to see your show. And when you get to the movie theater, Google Now will pop up a QR code that they can scan to let you into the theater. Pretty cool. And they expanded some of their other offerings. College athletics in the U.S. are included in the sports teams, and U.S. users will see a music button when a song is playing, when they're in voice mode. So Google Now getting some nice updates. Another thing that it's getting is it's showing recipes. Now, apparently, and this wasn't an announced feature, but a blog spotted it. If you do searches for recipes, or several searches for recipes, Google Now will suggest stuff to cook. Now, I've been trying all afternoon, been searching for ingredients and recipes, and I could not get the card to trigger. So I'm actually not sure what you have to do to get one of these recipe cards, but don't be surprised if you see Google Now suggesting what you should make for dinner.
What do you got to do to find a recipe for broccoli soup?
Yeah, I'm like, I had chicken and rice, something. Couldn't get it.
Did you use the word recipe?
I didn't. I actually just started, and that probably makes sense.
Oh yeah, it does.
I just started searching for. Oh no, I think I did. I think I searched for a couple of different chicken recipes, and I was putting all kinds. And I just was getting Google search results. I didn't get any Google.
Yeah,
Now
I just checked. I just typed in mushroom recipe, and I just got search results. I didn't get anything like that. Yeah,
no, same for me. Broccoli
I'm hoping that Google Now can sense what's in my refrigerator and cupboard, and then just suggest what I should cook for dinner at night. I don't know how that'll happen, but I think that happens.
I love Google Now. Just for example, like I just went to the search box on Google Now, and it automatically dropped down my last 3 Google searches because I've synced all my desktop and everything like that. So these are searches that I made on my computer back at work. Like that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great.
And I have oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say I have the widget on here. I was trying to show it earlier, and my brightness was just a little too dialed up here. But you're not really seeing a whole lot right now because, I just find with Google Now, a lot of times it's just showing me the weather. It's not giving me a lot of other cards, which is, I don't know what I expect to see there, but many times it's just the weather. So right now, it's taking up 2 blocks on my home screen, but it's only showing one thing. But usually that ends up filling up with, whatever I have on Google Now. And yeah, it's pretty handy. I just don't know how much interaction you get with it. It just, I guess, takes you to Now if you click.
Oh yeah, you're just getting the weather. Normally, I often get the kind of traffic to home card. When I'm away from home.
I just installed the widget and I got the news bit. I got the Downton Abbey season finale reactions, and when I would want the weather, So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any cards.
Sorry.
Jeff on This Week in Google has also complained that he does not get enough cards, like more cards. And I think that's my biggest complaint with Now is I love it. I love the interface. I think it's really clean. I love how the kind of, this is a simple design thing, but just the image at the top of the screen changes like to sunset if it's around sunset time, or like sunrise in the morning. If it's like a cloudy day, it shows clouds. Like it's very aware of where you are and what you're doing. And I think that Google is just kind of slowly rolling out not even slowly. I mean, they've been rolling out new cards here and there. It's just a lot of times like, how do I get this? Show me deals. Tell me more about what's going on.
Well, I think a little obnoxious trolling pro tip, but if you go into the settings of Google Now, which is actually the Google search app settings, then there's a whole section for cards, and you can select what cards you get and you don't get. So that might be worth looking at. Like, for example, I've got a bunch turned off because I don't want to know about people's birthdays and I don't want to know about stocks and things like that. So I don't know what everyone's individual settings are, where it's getting those initial settings. But if you feel as if you're not getting enough cards, you might want to look at those settings and see if there are cards you can sign up for, Jason.
Yeah, I have them all on.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I have them all on. Google Now just doesn't want me to have any cards, apparently.
Google Now is keeping Jason in the dark. It's a conspiracy.
It's 46 degrees in Petaluma. That's it.
That's all I care about is the weather. Even though I spent 5 out of 7 days in this studio.
Where it's always sunny.
Yes, it's sunny and warm right now. I'm telling you, these lights. So when I was out, you guys talked about Vine, right?
Yes.
And was the general consensus that you want Vine now on your Android device?
Just to keep up with the Jones.
Yeah, just to have it.
Yeah. We were saddened. We were saddened it wasn't available for Android. We talked about how a big company like Twitter, which owns Vine, should probably develop for both platforms at the same time, or we were of the opinion.
And that's the hypothetical approach. Now that I've played with Vine and friends of mine have played with Vine and I've looked at it on the web, it kind of creeps me out. I don't know if I want it. So
like, would I really?
Because what I don't like is it loops the video. Yeah. It plays the video in a loop, and so like you just hear the audio, the 6 seconds of audio, and if someone else is in the room looking at videos on Vine, it just gets really weird because you just hear the same punchline over and over again. I don't know. Sorry, I'm stepping on the story. So.
No, not, there really isn't much to this story, to be honest. There was a job posting today for those of you who are holding out for Vine for Android. Job posting today looking for a lead Android engineer. Developer team is looking to add 6 more people, and that's including the lead Android engineer. Doesn't necessarily mean that they haven't already been working on an Android app, but it does show that there is intent there. Who knows how long it's going to be before we get Vine? I don't really care so much for Vine. Although I do like kind of the video aspect of it more than the sound aspect. I don't think I've watched a single Vine that's been unmuted. I just leave it muted. It's like an animated GIF to me.
Yeah. What I think is really interesting is that there's a lot of potential around, not aspiring, but some filmmakers and stuff like that. Because what I didn't realize that the Vine app actually has that light editing capability where you can take a couple of quick snippets of video and do that. I just thought it was a quick, just 6 seconds static, but you can actually put in some editing there. So that's pretty neat. So anyway, I would like it. I would play with it. I don't know. Anyway, and somehow Jason was
this really cool game that I got.
Jason was in my head as I was trying to find my Android Arena app, and the app that I didn't choose was the fact that Tamagotchi Life is now available on Android.
I wish I knew how to play Tamagotchi, but I don't.
So for those who
just push buttons.
Those of you who are old enough to remember the big craze in the late 90s, it was the late 90s, right? Was the Tamagotchi, which was a little Japanese handheld digital pet that you could take care of and you'd have to feed and all that stuff. And so now Tamagotchi Life is available on Android and iOS, so you can relive the magic.
The magic.
Yeah. And you do little buttons, and it's like a little gives the time and gives information. But you'd have to feed your Tamagotchi, and you could talk to it and play with it and make it happy or sad. It's so that sort of thing. So,
well, I'm happy that you could read about this because I just remember the Tamagotchi craze. Yep. I never once had one. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Same here.
Looking at this.
I remember this, and I remember they were like little keychains, right?
Well, there were little keychains. Yeah. But my question is why did it take this long? It must have been caught up in some sort of rights battle or something like that, because I thought this would be a no-brainer, at least on iOS. So you should raise a Tamagotchi and see how long it takes till it dies.
Oh yeah, totally. I've got so much attention span for
and so much time on your hands, right?
Yeah, I'm not raising enough life forms
humans
right now. I need to raise another one, a virtual one.
A virtual one.
Less than 8
on a virtual keychain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does that mean I have to hang this around?
Yeah.
Because if so, then I'm in. Let's see here. So we got a email from Tom in Hastings, Michigan, and said, "Dear AAA crew, love the show. I was hoping you could help with an app suggestion. I have a 1-year-old daughter, and she loves to watch videos on my Nexus 7. The problem is she also loves to touch the screen, which stops the video. Is there an app that will render the touch screen temporarily unresponsive to touch while a video is playing?" There are plenty of apps that do this. The one that I use, and I think maybe you covered it in the arena.
And I use it for
years ago
for two different reasons. But yeah, go on.
MX Player.
Yep. That is the one. I use it because I watch video at the gym and I don't want to accidentally hit the screen and go back or whatever. So MX Video Player actually has a lock option so that you can play video and lock the screen, and unless you touch the little square where the lock is, you can't stop it or change anything. And we can show.
I think I can actually show it off here. There's also actually I'll turn down the audio on this. It's this little show called All About Android. You might like it. I don't know.
Is it on? Is it time for it? I should check my app.
Yeah, you should. So there's down here. There's a little lock that you can press that locks the screen. You can unlock it up there. Yeah. But if your kid's crafty enough, they're going to figure that out, right?
They will.
So then let's see here. So if we go to settings, let's see here. Is it tools, settings? There is in here player lock. Where is it? There is screen. Okay, so screen settings. There is a little section here. Where is it? I know that it's in here. Touch controls. Maybe that's it. There it is. Lock mode. Okay, so there's a little option here. This says lock right now. I downloaded a plugin for this, which you can also look for, called Kids Lock plugin. And it has two different modes. It has Kids Lock or Kids Lock with touch effects. We'll do that one to show it off. Basically what this is when a video is playing, when your kid is watching All About Android, you hit lock, everything goes away. No matter what I do, and I'll turn up the volume here so you can hear it. No matter what I do. So if they're really young, that kind of keeps them entertained every time they touch the screen. All they get are these little shapes and little kind of plinky plonky sounds. As a parent, if you want to unlock it, hope this works the first time, you do all four corners. There we go.
Cool.
So now I have my controls back. So that would be my solution. It works great for my kid. Of course, she's now 3, so I don't really lock the screen as much anymore because she wants full control, wants to play the games as well as watch a show. But there we go. That's MX Player with Kids Lock plugin as an additional install. And MX Player is awesome.
MX Player is great. It's a must-have.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That should have been on my 5 apps I install. Oh, no, we did phone. On tablet, that would be one of my top 5
We'll have to
apps.
do tablet.
We should do tablet.
Yeah, we have to do tablet. Yeah.
Let's do that. Bring it on.
All right, bring it on.
Speaking of bringing it on.
That's right. Bring it on in the arena.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
I feel like the new animation needs a little more pre-roll. Because that's so many starts so quickly. Yeah.
So many enter.
Yeah, there's no time in between there. It wants you to know right now.
Yep.
So last week, we had a great arena, and sure enough, I think I expected that this was going to be the case. Dash Clock Widget, which has just had a lot of momentum the past week.
Talk about a great...
Yeah, and it's just an excellent
that's
app.
So cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Wins with 46% of the votes. That was Russell Hawley's pick. Second was Shapes and Sound at 29%. Third, Silence, Gina's pick at 25%. And just as a really quick aside here, Dash Clock Widget allows developers to create their own kind of extensions for it.
So cool.
And Android Central posted today a pretty good kind of walkthrough on some of the really good extensions that you can do. If you have Dash Clock Widget, you can add things like Plume, Facebook, a Google Reader. You can just add a bunch of these. So take a look at that. It'll be in the show notes at twit.tv/AAA97. Our show notes will be there today.
Dash Clock is early contender for App of the Year. I mean,
it's pretty solid right out of the gate. It's well designed.
Yeah, totally. So at least for me, I don't know. I was impressed by it.
I agree.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ron, since you were absent and left us hanging for 2 weeks straight.
Sorry.
Because you have a life and stuff.
Sorry.
You get to go first.
All right. So in my triumphant return to the arena, I searched far and wide, and I was looking for another favorite app that's insanely designed. But alas, they're hard to come by. So I failed you in that regard to my loyal audience who was hoping for another crazy app. But instead, I went a different route, and I have a game to share with you. And one of the reasons why this game caught my eye is because it's one of the few games that I've found to take advantage of the Holo Jelly Bean.
I was corrected. Hollow.
I feel like Hollow is too hollow. Hollow. Yeah. I feel like Hollow is too
holographic.
Yeah, Holo. It's Holo.
I've been saying Holo too, but I guess it's Hollow.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Anyway, so
I think it's tomato, people. That's my opinion.
Well, because I guess it's a hologram, not a hologram.
Right.
Yeah, so that makes sense. But holla, so I love challah bread too. Anyway, this game is called 7x7. and it's free in the Android marketplace, and it's actually really beautiful and really well designed. It is a basic kind of Tetris-y kind of block game, and here, so when you come up, it's very cleanly designed. You have an option: how to play, start a new game, or resume your current game. I'll go to how to play to show everybody how to play because it's got a neat little tutorial. Basically, the idea is you want to make rows of 4 of the same color, and you can move squares on the board to make them, whether they're vertical, horizontal, or diagonal. Sometimes blocks will get locked in, and you've got the opportunity to move anywhere, and that's kind of like a get-out-of-jail-free token. You've got a limited number of those, and you can undo moves if you make a mistake. So very simple, very easy to play, and let's dive in, and I'll show you how to do it. We'll start a new game, and yes, it's going to erase my previous game. And so here it is. And so it's going to show me up next, I'm getting these 3 blocks on the board, or these 3. There's really nothing for me to do, but I'm just going to move this up next to it so I can start building on that. And I'm going to move. And basically, you can move the blocks, but they can't be blocked by other blocks. So you can move them up, down, diagonal, wherever. But if they're worked in, you're locked in from being able to move them. So I don't have an example of that yet, but I will show you when I have that. And so, yeah, the idea is just to keep moving blocks and make these rows before the board fills up and you can't move anymore. And I will do that. I'll do that. And so now here, so this purple block here, you see when I touch on it, these boxes go to, you can't really tell because they're X's. Yeah, so that means I can't move them there, right? But let's say I really, really wanted to, I can use the move anywhere and just put the box there. But now I've got I've only got 1 move anywhere left. So limited number there. So yeah, and the idea is you just keep going. And I was playing this the other day, and you get in this almost like kind of rhythm where you're just moving and it's putting more in, and you're trying to get stuff done, and it's kind of, you kind of get lost in it. And so you've got this Othello-y. Yeah, it's very Othello-y. Yeah. So you've got this progress meter here for level 1. I've got to make 34 more lines to get to the next level. So it tells me how I'm progressing. It gives me a score and what my combo is on the score. And it's just the kind of thing where you just kind of keep building and you just keep kind of doing your thing and you kind of make more lines. And it's so simple, but so pretty at the same time. And just elegantly done. So there you go. So 7x7. For those who are looking for simple puzzle games, it doesn't get much better than free, and it is just works so well in the Android kind of the whole hollow design scheme. So there you go, 7x7. That is the game I've been playing this week. It's a lot of fun. Try it.
Boom.
Nice. Boom.
All right, and it's free. I always like that. Cool.
It's very Tetris-y. If you're a Tetris fan, you're gonna love this game. So
yeah, it's like a Tetris Othello kind of mashup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Nice.
The chat room picked up on the Tetris side of it. So
cool. All right.
Cool.
Gina, you're up next. I'll show off your app.
My pick this week is called Clock Plus Daydream. So the reason why I chose this is because last week our guest Russell Holloway pointed out that the hour in the Android clock is really, really super bold and the minutes aren't. And I guess you knew that, but now it was like he said, I can't unsee it. Okay. And then so that happens. Then he also picked Dash Clock Widget, which is really cool and shows the clock and other items like we talked about. So Clock Plus Daydream is the same concept, just in a different context, which is daydream mode. So I'm kind of hung up on daydream mode. I really like it. The reason why I want the Nexus 4 is I want that awesome wireless charger. What I like about it is that when you put it in the charger, it goes into daydream mode, which is this kind of like active screensaver type thing, right? And this is what Clock Plus Daydream does. It shows you a clock, which you can choose the style of. You can choose to turn off that bold if you want. And you can also show a couple of other things. You can show text messages and unread Gmail and missed calls and your battery status. So you install Clock Plus, you open it up, you launch it, you can set your style of the clock, like I said, your notification icons, which is how many unread Gmails you have, SMS calls, battery status, etc. And then when you go into settings, display, and in daydream mode. Now this is Jelly Bean only, if I'm not mistaken.
And
daydream
I'm wondering if I have Jelly Bean on this here.
no, on the Zoom, no.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Well,
No, I
you can
think I
launch
installed it on the wrong thing.
even if you don't have a phone with Daydream, you can manually launch it as well. It's basically an active screensaver. Yeah. So yeah, you can go into Daydream mode. You can say, hey, here's what to show me. So there's this regular clock, which is kind of its default. But if you choose Clock Plus, it will display the style clock that you showed and the that extra information. So I actually turned on Daydream mode. There's a button that says when to daydream. So you can say Daydream when I'm docked, Daydream when I'm charging, Daydream either. So my phone daydreams when it's just charging, and it shows Clock Plus. So super simple. Like I said, same concept as Dash Clock widget. Not as extensible, however. Just activates when you're in Daydream mode versus being a lock screen or a home screen widget. It's totally free, and that's it. Clock Plus Daydream.
Cool. I'm trying to so I'm setting the alarm because apparently the Zoom that I have here doesn't have Daydream capability. So I set it for 6:33. So now I'm just waiting. Oh, wait a minute. It's just an alarm. Oh, so it's not doing the special daydreamy kind of screensaver stuff. Okay. I wish I could show it off for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'm trying to see. I thought there was a way to launch it right from so if you just launch the app, is there a way to say? No, there isn't. There just isn't.
And up. We're on 4.1.
Right? Yeah, 4.2 and up. Yeah, sorry about that, Jason. I should have told you.
Oh,
I didn't realize. Oh, but actually, if you hit back, oh yeah, no, you were there. Nope.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like you can launch it. Sorry about that.
Specifically Daydream, it looks like.
Yeah, specifically Daydream. Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It's okay. It's like I said, super simple, similar to Dash Clock widget. Just gives you a little more information and styles your clock how you want it.
Cool.
Very
All right.
cool.
And then let's see here. I have an app as well. The one that I'm going to be talking about is called And Share. It's basically a way to extend, reorganize your share menu, because share menus can get very full. And, there are a lot of services that end up in share that I just don't want to share to.
Like Dropbox.
Like share directly to Dropbox.
Yeah. Every time it's in there, I'm almost like, because I don't use Dropbox for that.
Yeah.
The thing is that some services, everyone uses them differently.
Mm-hmm.
And so you should have more control over what ones you're sharing to or not sharing to, or, so
right.
Anyway, so.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and ramp my display down because Lux, a previous Arena entry, keeps changing it. Okay, so And Share Pro. Basically, I'm just showing you the settings here real quick. It has a few different kind of interface changes if you want light or dark or whatever. You can have it shorten your links when you do share, specifically through the goo.gl way. You can select hidden apps. So this is where you can go in. You can say, hey, I never share to these things. So go ahead and remove it from the list. If ever an app calls for share and it would pull these up, you won't see them anymore. Let's see here. You can do a few other things. Group apps. Now, this is really cool. So basically, I've created a social group. And social allows me to add to this group any apps that I want to be part of this particular group. When I say to share to social group, it's going to share to both Google Plus and Twitter. So I can take one thing and share them to both. Now, it's not sending it immediately. It's not like I hit that, share this link and then automatically posts it. What it does, I'll go into, let's see here. Let's go into Bacon Reader, and I'll go share this and share the link. All right, and so I haven't set it as my default here because I wanted to keep the other one for something, but let's see here. So just once. And you'll see, once it appears, we have the new share list. Up here at the top, I have my groups, social. So I'll go ahead and hit that and share. And what it does is it actually pulls up both. So if you can see under this keyboard, I have my Twitter here. And I'm just going to send this so people subscribed. And then it pulls up my Google Plus. And so then I can edit it there as well. And It populates it all. So it allows you to kind of stack these things if you want to cross-post. And, Google Plus, I haven't seen a whole lot of cross-posting capability to things like Google Plus because this isn't actually using the app to post to Google Plus. It's just sharing the information to the Google Plus app as well as to Twitter. So it does cool things like that. There's another thing in there that I can't really show off, but it's kind of interesting. It's fast share account. Actually, I can. Fast share accounts. So I've set up a Twitter fast share account, and not all accounts are compatible with this, but you can set Twitter, Gmail, and Facebook. I think there's also a Dropbox it's an Evernote share capability. And fast share is just a way to say, share this to the service immediately. I'm not going to add anything to it. So if I fast shared that link on Bacon Reader to my Twitter link, it would just immediately post it to Twitter without me adding any comment, and it would take kind of the page information and just populate it and zip send it out. I don't know if I'd use that a whole lot, but it could be kind of easy, or it might actually be really good for email if you want to send, set it up so that you can send yourself a quick note and not have to do a whole lot of other things. Just boom, put the link in, send it to your email with Fast Share, and it's there the next time you open up your email on a desktop or something like that. I guess that's one way to think about it. But yeah, AndMade Share Pro. There's actually a free version that doesn't, I don't believe, give you access to the Fast Share capability. But the free version, let's see here. The Pro version has groups. It has the Fast Share and a few other features as well. But the pay version, the Pro version, is $2, and I find it pretty darn useful. It's kind of nice to finally be able to clean up my share menu a little bit, because man, sometimes it just gets out of hand, and it's like I only ever share to 2 things. So why do I need all that other stuff? So there you go, AndMade Share Pro, and that's for 2.1 and up. For those of you wondering what versions can run it. So,
I'm following that. Looks good.
Yeah, it's great. It's very handy. All right, so that is this week's arena. We have 7x7, Clock Plus Daydream, and AndMade Share. AndMade is one word, by the way. AndMade Share. You can vote for your favorite app in this episode by going to AAApoll.com/97. AAApoll.com/97. Let us know which is your favorite, and we'll watch the votes pour in by the millions of folks watching this show live right now.
Pouring in.
Millions. And by millions, I mean...
What's the most we've ever gotten? Like 300
votes?
So? Yeah.
Over 1,000.
Over 1,000?
Yeah,
really?
when Father Robert Ballister was on.
Oh,
nice.
Really? Why? How did that happen?
We aren't quite sure. I think ultimately it ended up being the app that he covered, the company knew about it,
promoted
it on their Twitter feed or something, and so it shot up.
Father Robert, man, he's a machine.
Hey, he does what it takes to win in the arena.
Exactly, he brings it.
That's right.
Yeah,
I take it as a personal challenge.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now, we were talking about Vine a little bit earlier before we wrap up. Josh Windich here at Twit shot a Vine with sound of Ron talking about sound on Vine. And the link is in the show notes.
Too meta.
Yeah. Unmute that sucker. I'm very curious.
The 6 seconds of audio. And what I don't like is it loops the video. Yeah. You just hear the audio. The 6 seconds of audio.
See, now this is why Vine is just essential. Like, we all need Vine for this compelling video.
Well done, Josh. Well done. I applaud. I applaud the effort.
Excellent job, Josh.
Lovely.
It is creepy, though.
It is creepy.
And I don't mean that it's not about you, Ron.
No.
It is a little creepy.
Yeah, I know. I'm totally going to tweet this out. So there you go. All right. So,
that's it for this week. A lot of news that we discussed today. I thought it was a great episode. Gina, how about you go first? What do you want to plug today?
I hope people will check out my app. It is todotxt.com. It's in the Play Store and the Amazon App Store and the iTunes Store. And I also co-host This Week in Google with Leo and Jeff Jarvis, and that is on Wednesdays here on the Twit Network at 1 p.m. Pacific time. I missed it last week. I'll be on tomorrow. I'm really excited. We talk about all kinds of Google news and even non-Google news, just kind of cloud computing in general. And sometimes we talk a little bit about Android too, but you should come check it out. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Gina. And Ron, how about you, sir?
Yes. So I am back. It's great to be back in this chair. I'll be clean shaven next time. And you can find everything about me at about.me/RonXO with links to my Twitter and Facebook, Google+, all that fun stuff. Not Vine, because I'm not on Vine. And by day, if you like what I do, if you like comic books, you should check out Image Comics at imagecomics.com, where you can find great comics like The Walking Dead and other great stuff. And that's where I work. So yeah, go for it.
Awesome. And Chad?
I do a show on the Twit Network now, OMG Craft. In April, we are moving to Twit, so
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So you can go to omgcraft.com or omgcraft.com/changes to see what's happening in the future.
Sweet. And I'm going to actually do a different plug today because I've been doing a project that I'm really happy about. I'm working on a new album, and leading up to the new album, I'm kind of documenting my process for songwriting. So any songwriters out there that are really, just kind of interested in knowing how other people write music, go to yellowgoldmusic.com. It's a blog through Squarespace 6, which was amazingly simple to set up, and I'm really happy with the way it's going. If that at all interests you, I'm talking about the technology and just kind of the theory, the process that I go through when I write music. So yellowgoldmusic.com. I hope you'll check it out. And definitely I'll let you guys know when the new album comes out. Probably in the next couple of months. I'm hoping to kind of finalize it. But I'm very happy with where it's coming. So there you go. So check that out. And that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us once again. It's been an awesome episode. You can always leave us a voicemail. Check us out at 347-SHOW-AAA. Leave us a voicemail and get your voice played on air. Email and video mail can be sent to us at aaa@twit.tv. You can hit the show on Twitter. We are at Android Show. Don't hit us too hard, though, please. Show notes at twit.tv/AAA. You can also find past episodes on our site there, as well as iTunes, YouTube, all the usual places. And finally, you can catch us live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific at live.twit.tv. Thank you. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week on another episode of All About Android.
Yay. Look at you, very regal there.